One afternoon, my stepson Alex said without even looking up from his phone, "You're only here because Mom felt sorry for you." The room didn't go quiet. No dramatic music. No thunderclap of realization. Just the soft buzz of the fridge. The scratch of his thumb scrolling. My own pulse steady as always. But something shifted. Not loud. Not sudden. Just a subtle tilt in the floorboards beneath my feet. The kind of shift you only feel when you've been standing still for too long. I didn't argue. Didn't raise a voice. Didn't even flinch. Just stood up from the couch, slow and deliberate, walked into the kitchen, opened my tablet, and began the quiet unbuilding of everything I had stacked around them. I canceled the family trip to Orlando. 4 nights in a suite, already half paid, tickets to the parks, a meal plan they hadn't even thanked me for. Gone. Canceled the weekly cleaning service, the woman who smiled every Friday and left the house smelling like lemon and order. Done. Shut down the grocery delivery subscription. No more boxes of fruit they'd never touch. No more imported snacks from Japan Brooke liked to brag about to her friends. Cancelled. Then I opened the app for the rental site. My old downtown apartment, 1 bedroom, gray-bricked, quiet, was still listed under my name. It had waited. I reactivated the lease with a few taps. No fanfare. They found out when the cleaning lady didn't show up that Friday. Linda texted me at noon. "Did you forget to confirm Eva this week?" I didn't answer. Saturday morning, Alex opened the fridge and said out loud, to no one in particular, "Why is there literally nothing here?" Nobody replied. Sunday evening, Brooke asked, "What happened to the Orlando trip?" My friend already booked the same weekend so we could hang out. Linda didn't know what to tell her, because I hadn't said a word. My name is Mike. I'm 47 years old. I married Linda 6 years ago. A widow. 2 kids from her first marriage. I came in careful, measured, understanding I wasn't replacing anyone, just trying to be part of something again. I didn't demand dad. I didn't impose rules. I just showed up, paid bills, replaced the old stained couch, installed shelves, fixed the sink, covered orthodontist bills, bought phones, laptops, camping gear, prom dresses. I built something, a life, a home, and I never asked for anything in return except the decency of being acknowledged. But slowly, year by year, they trained me to accept my own disappearance. That's between us and Mom. You don't have to worry about that. It's Mom's life, not yours. That was the chorus. Sometimes soft, sometimes sharp, but always there, humming in the walls of the house like an old, rotten wire buzzing under layers of plaster. And every time I told myself, be the adult. Don't take it personally. They're kids, teenagers. They'll grow out of it. Except, they're 19. Not children. Not confused, grieving little things. Alex was 19 and already taller than me, with his father's chin and his mother's temper. Brooke was 17 but spoke with the self-righteousness of someone twice that age, quoting podcasts, posting about boundaries and emotional labor from a bedroom I paid for. They weren't children. They were comfortable. And comfort, I've learned, is a dangerous thing in ungrateful hands. That line, "You're only here because Mom felt sorry for you." It didn't come out of nowhere. It was cultivated, watered, fertilized with years of subtle contempt. And what made it worse was how casual it was. He didn't look at me when he said it. Didn't pause, didn't lean forward like he meant it. It wasn't a declaration. It was an afterthought. That's what broke me. I'd have preferred a scream, a slammed door, a fight. I could have handled that. But this casual sentence, dropped like litter from the window of a moving car, told me everything I needed to know. I was no longer seen. I was furniture. I was service. I was background noise. I was a man tolerated for his utility and discarded in every other regard. There was a time, not long ago, when Alex called me Mike with warmth in his voice. When he texted to ask for help with essays, advice about girls. When we'd spend whole afternoons assembling IKEA furniture in silence, side by side, like men do. I mistook that silence for closeness. Thought it meant I was finally inside the circle. I was wrong. Linda never corrected them. Not once. That's the part that stings deeper than any word her kids ever said. Not once in 6 years did she say, "Don't speak to him that way. He's done more for you than your father ever did. He deserves better." Never. She'd sigh sometimes, say, "They're just going through a phase." She said that when Alex told me to mind my own business after I asked where he was staying out all night. She said that when Brooke once said, loud enough for me to hear across the house, "Maybe you should stop acting like we're your family. You're not even related." Teens go through phases, Linda said. But this wasn't a phase. This was identity. Entitlement wrapped in the armor of teenage immunity. And Linda's silence? It wasn't neutral. It was permission. It was worse than opposition. You want to know the cruelest part? I kept showing up. After every comment, every jab, every cold shoulder, I kept paying, kept cooking dinner, kept offering rides, kept fixing things, like a fool who believed that if I just stood still long enough, they'd come around. I didn't slam the door when I left. I didn't even pack much. Just the basics, some clothes, my tools, the leather chair I bought with my first bonus, and a few framed photos of a family that was never really mine. I returned to the apartment that still had my name on the mailbox. The one no one else had touched. The one where nothing expected from me except the rent and the occasional flick of a light switch. That place welcomed me like an old friend. I didn't tell Linda I was leaving. I didn't need to. She noticed when she came home and saw the gap where my chair had been. When my toothbrush was gone. When the shared calendar stopped updating with my color-coded errands. She texted me the next day, "Why are you being like this?" I sent one photo in reply, the canceled cleaning invoice and a caption that read, "Sometimes respect starts where the services stop." She didn't reply. Maybe she showed Alex the message. Maybe they laughed. Maybe they were confused. Or maybe, just maybe, the silence finally said something they couldn't ignore. But I wasn't waiting for their realization. Because by the time I walked out of that house, I had already come to mine. They didn't lose me the day I left. They lost me long before, when I became an ATM with a pulse, when Linda stopped seeing me as a partner and started seeing me as a buffer, when Alex and Brooke learned that cruelty had no consequences as long as the fridge stayed full. And when they told me, in words or in silence, that I wasn't family, I finally believed them. That comment from Alex wasn't the first. It was just the last one I let pass. His sister Brooke had set the tone months before. I was fixing the hallway shelf when I heard her voice carry across the house, sharp and cruel, like she wanted it to echo. "Maybe you should stop acting like we're your family. You're not even related." I stopped drilling mid-screw, held still, thought maybe she didn't mean it, thought maybe she'd come around the corner, red-faced, apologizing, saying she was just angry or that I'd misunderstood. But she didn't. She walked right past me, headphones on, eyes straight ahead. Not a flinch. Not even the decency to look ashamed. Linda had been folding laundry when it happened. She heard it too. She looked up, then down again. Sighed. That sigh said everything. She didn't confront Brooke. Didn't say a word. I wanted her to say something. Anything. "Don't speak to him like that. That man bought your class ring. He's the reason you have running water and clean sheets." But silence filled the space. A silence that became permanent. A silence that, over time, became policy. That was the house I lived in. A place where love was measured in bills paid and ignored when respect was due. Where the children walked through life with open hands and closed hearts, and their mother, my wife, never dared to call them on it. And I kept serving, kept mowing the lawn, kept folding Brooke's laundry when she left it in the dryer too long, kept covering for Alex when he overdrew the shared account tied to his gas card. All of it, quietly, repeatedly, because I thought, stupidly, that love was a long investment, that if I just kept doing the work, they'd eventually understand the cost, that the weight of my presence would one day matter more than the absence of their father. But the absence always won. Todd, their biological father, existed like a photograph in a drawer. Faded. Smiling. Useless. He called maybe twice a year. Showed up once, brought Alex a watch for his birthday. Brooke got a necklace she never wore but always displayed. They spoke of him with reverence, like a myth, like a ghost they were proud to be haunted by. And me? I was just the man who paid for the lights to stay on. That realization doesn't come all at once. Creeps in. One comment here. One missed thank you there. One birthday where no one bothers to ask what you want, only what kind of cake the kids prefer. You don't notice the cold until the chill is constant. So I left. Quietly. No arguments. No declarations. I just stopped. Stopped paying for the extras. Stopped driving Brooke to her late-night theater rehearsals. Stopped transferring $80 here, $120 there to Alex's account with the usual vague note, books, meals, essentials. And then I stopped sleeping there. Went back to the old place. Sparse, sure. Smaller. But mine. The kind of quiet that doesn't accuse you of overreacting. I didn't change my number. I didn't block them. But I stopped chasing acknowledgement. I stopped being available. And they felt it. The first to notice was Linda. She texted 2 days after I left. Are you okay? What's going on? No apology. No responsibility. Just confusion. As if my withdrawal was unprovoked. I sent her a photo. A screenshot of the cleaning services cancellation notice. A note that read, "Sometimes respect begins where the services stop." She didn't reply. That Friday, the groceries didn't arrive. Brooke posted on social media about how being an adult is so hard when Whole Foods isn't delivered to your doorstep. 3 crying emojis. Dozens of likes. One passive-aggressive comment from her cousin. Wow, must be tough. Saturday, Alex asked Linda if the Wi-Fi bill was paid. It was by me, but the automatic payment had been paused. He reset the router 5 times before texting me. Did the account get hacked? I didn't answer. Sunday, they drove to Costco. Linda covered what she could. She texted me afterward. The message full of ellipses and polite avoidance. Would be good to talk. The kids are confused. Can we meet? I said no. I wanted her to sit in it. In the space where I used to be. In the void left by the man she allowed to be diminished piece by piece while she held the door open. A week passed. Then another. Alex called once, at 10:47 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. He didn't leave a message. The next morning, Linda called. I answered. Her voice was thin. Not angry, not yet, just bewildered, like someone who'd lost their way and blamed the map. Mike, she said. I don't know what's happening. The kids are stressed. I'm trying to cover things, but it's a lot. It is, I said. It always was. There was a pause. She didn't like that. She wasn't used to hearing me admit it, that I had been holding up something no one else noticed until it started to fall. I get that you're hurt, she said. But this isn't the way. I let the silence breathe. They're still kids. No, I said. They're not. They're young adults. Old enough to declare what I am to them. Old enough to understand that words carry weight. Another pause. Then, you're punishing them. I almost laughed. No, Linda. I'm freeing them. Letting them live in the world they insisted was true. A world where I'm not needed. Not wanted. Not related. That's not what they meant. But it's what they said. The line went quiet. I imagined her standing in the kitchen, barefoot, surrounded by shopping bags. Her card declined 3 times the day before. I imagined Alex upstairs, wondering why his card stopped working at the gas station. Brooke texting her friends, asking if anyone had a Netflix login they could borrow. They were starting to feel it. Not the absence of money, not yet, but the absence of certainty. The cracks in the floorboards. Because money was never just money. It was the glue, the oil, the silence I bought in exchange for being tolerated. And now that silence had turned into something else. Space. I spent that weekend alone. Fixed the wobbly table in the apartment. Read books I hadn't opened in years. Made myself real meals, not just kid-friendly nonsense. And I realized something brutal. I had been living as a shadow in my own life. A ghost in someone else's story. And it had started the day I accepted that being stepfather meant accepting less. Less voice. Less thanks. Less place. But here's the truth I learned too late. When you accept less long enough, people stop offering more. The first bill to arrive wasn't paper. It was a voice, anxious, brittle, at the other end of the line. "Michael," Linda said. "Alex just called. Something's wrong with the tuition account. He said the payment didn't go through." I knew it wouldn't. I had canceled it 4 nights ago. "He's panicking," she continued, voice thinner with each word. "He said the university threatened to drop him from his classes if it's not fixed by Monday." I didn't ask what she wanted. I already knew. There was a long pause before she said the thing she thought would move me. He could lose his semester. I let the silence thicken. I wanted her to feel it, the weight I used to carry now laid bare. When I finally spoke, my voice was low, even. "I'm aware." She inhaled sharply. "You let this happen?" "I didn't let anything happen," I said. "I just stopped pretending I was responsible." Linda fell silent. Not because she understood, but because she couldn't refute it. I stopped paying. Tuition, housing, the meal card, the monthly cash for gas and late-night snacks. I stopped it all. Not out of rage, but out of clarity. Because when someone tells you who you are to them, you listen. You adjust. You redraw your boundaries. Let me be clear. This wasn't revenge. It was accounting. For 16 years, I had footed the invisible bill. Stepfatherhood, they never defined it, but they sure knew how to spend it. Every unacknowledged payment, every replaced appliance, every birthday present addressed from both of us but paid solely by me. It added up. And now they were shocked the account had a limit. Linda hung up without a goodbye. That was fine. She was used to the version of me who stayed quiet to keep the peace. By Friday, Alex showed up. Unannounced. Uninvited. He didn't knock. Just barged in like it was still his right. "What the hell is this?" he demanded, holding up his phone. "The bursar's office says the payment bounced. I thought you were covering this." I looked at him, not angry, not smug, just steady. I said, "until you made it clear I'm not your father." He blinked. "What? You said I'm only here because your mother felt sorry for me. That I'm nothing. Not family. Not a father. So I believed you." He stared like I'd spoken another language. His mouth moved but made no sound. Then his face tightened. "You're seriously going to let me get kicked out over a sentence?" "No," I said. "I'm letting you get kicked out because you refuse to respect the man who kept you in." His jaw clenched. "You're being petty." I stood. Not fast. Just enough to reclaim space. "No, Alex. I was being generous. For years. I fed you, paid your bills, covered for your real father every single time he failed you. I did it quietly, willingly, but not endlessly." He scoffed. "You can't just cut me off." "I can," I said. And I did. He stepped back like he didn't recognize the man in front of him. That made 2 of us. For years, I had tried to be invisible in my giving. Now I wanted every missing cent to be felt. He left in a storm of half-spoken protests. Slamming the door like that would undo the silence I had installed in my absence. That night, Linda showed up. She didn't knock either. She came in, sat down, and looked at me with eyes full of accusation. "You're letting him drown." "No," I said. "I'm letting him swim. Let's see if he knows how." She stared at me like I was something cruel. "Michael," she said. "He's 19. "Yes," I replied. "Old enough to know how to withdraw love. Old enough to learn what happens when the withdrawals stop being one-sided." She shook her head. "It's not that simple." I stood and walked into the kitchen, poured a glass of water, came back. "It is," I said. "He made it simple. He drew the line. I'm just respecting it." Her voice softened, turned into something maternal, coaxing. "You know he doesn't mean it. He's just confused. Hurt." I met her eyes. "And what about me?" She blinked. "When I paid for his braces, was I confused? When I bought his first car? When I took on a second job so he could go to that overpriced summer camp with his friends? Was I confused then?" She didn't answer. Was I hurt when he called Todd dad in front of me? When he posted Father's Day photos with a man who sends him a gift once a year but never pays a cent? Was I hurt when you said nothing? Her mouth opened, closed, and I saw it then. The thing I had always suspected but never faced. She needed me to be useful, not central, not cherished, just functional. I loved your kids like they were mine, I said, voice tight, and you let them treat me like a placeholder, like a charity case you dragged in from the cold. Michael, she said, barely a whisper, I'm not doing it anymore. The next day, the ripple effects widened. The landlord from Alex's college apartment called Linda. Rent had bounced. The bursar's office sent another warning. The university placed a hold on his schedule. Alex called Todd. I know because I overheard it. The walls in this apartment are thinner than the ones I paid to insulate back in that other house. He said please 3 times. Then, I need this. Then you said you'd help. The call ended in silence. He came home that night not to beg. Not yet. But the defiance was gone. The arrogance replaced by confusion. Like a boy lost in a place that used to belong to him. Brooke texted me too. No apology. Just, are you really cutting us off? Even me? I didn't answer. Because yes, even her. Because disrespect doesn't dilute based on gender. It just metastasizes. That weekend, Linda came back again. This time, no performance. Just pleading. Can you just cover the semester? She asked. Just this one last time. After that, we'll figure something out. I nodded, slow. Let her hope. Then I said, no. Tears welled. Please. He burned the bridge, I said. I'm just standing on the shore, watching it sink. She left angry. Told me I was cruel. Told me I was ruining everything. I laughed. Just once, quietly. Everything, I said. Funny word for something that never included me. She didn't come back the next day. But the calls did. From the university. From the apartment manager. From Todd. Yes, even Todd. He called me and said, maybe you're taking this too far. I didn't reply. He kept going. He's just a kid. He's scared. I waited for the magic words. I'll cover it. But they never came. He wanted me to fix what he'd abandoned. Again. I hung up. I wasn't angry. Just tired. Because here's the truth nobody likes to say out loud. Stepfathers aren't fathers. We're expectations without authority. Wallets without blood. Comfort without acknowledgement. And if you think love will earn you a seat at the table, wait until the meal runs out. That night, Alex texted again. Can we talk? I replied. You said I wasn't your father. I listened. No response. But I know what's coming. The knock. The apology born not from love but from panic. And I'll be ready. Not with forgiveness. But with memory. Because I remember everything. The knock came 4 days later. Not loud. Not urgent. Just tentative. I opened the door and there he was. Alex. Shoulders slouched. Eyes rimmed red. No backpack, no swagger. Just a boy, not a man, stripped of excuses. He didn't step in. Didn't try to smile. I'm sorry, he said. Came out hoarse. Thin. The apology of someone who's been rehearsing it. Not feeling it. I didn't move. I didn't mean what I said, he continued. It was stupid. I was angry. I didn't think it would. You know, go this far. But it had. It had gone exactly this far. I looked at him and saw not a son, not even a stepson. Just someone standing in the ruins of a bridge they burned themselves. Ash on their shoes. Smoke still in their clothes. He waited. Maybe for a hug. Maybe for a word to ease the moment. But I gave him none. Why are you here, Alex? He blinked. Swallowed. They're going to expel me. I talked to the bursar. If I don't pay by Friday. That's not what I asked. His voice broke. I don't know where else to go. There it was. Not love. Not regret. Just need. I stepped aside. Let him in. Let him sit. He looked at the floor, then the wall anywhere but me. I called Todd, he muttered. He said he doesn't have it. That he's dealing with stuff. Stuff. right? A man's legacy defined by excuses. He said I should ask you. I smiled, bitter. Of course he did. Alex looked up then. Saw something in me he hadn't expected. The edge. The resolve. The absence of softness. I didn't realize how much you were doing, he said. Like, I knew you paid for stuff, but I didn't get it. You didn't want to, I said. It was easier to take than to thank. Easier to mock than to admit you needed me. He didn't deny it. I poured 2 glasses of water. Set one in front of him. He stared at it like it might bite him. You know, I said, the thing that hurts the most isn't what you said. It's that you believed it. And that you said it because you thought there'd be no consequence. You were comfortable thinking I was just furniture. Silent. Soft. Always on. Alex's eyes filled. I didn't. You did. I cut in. And now you're here because the silence finally cost you something. He didn't cry, but he wanted to. I just want to fix it, he said. I want things to go back to how they were. I leaned forward. They won't. Silence. Heavy. Thick. You don't come back from that sentence, I said. You don't erase years of disregard with one apology. This isn't about tuition. It's about truth. He nodded, slowly, took a shaky breath. So, what happens now? I looked at him. You grow up. And I stood. I didn't offer a bailout. I didn't offer comfort. I offered the one thing no one had given him before, the weight of his choices. He left without answers, but maybe with understanding.